Okay, so here we have the Native 2, Spyderco, of course, majority. Anyhow, this knife is pretty cool. I've stayed away from buying the Native for a long time, although it is an esteemed knife amongst people who do own Spyderco, or even people who don't own a lot of Spydercos. They do typically look into the Native because of the price range and for what you get. Reason why I've not picked up this knife earlier is just because it overall it's not an extremely attractive knife to me, or at least it wasn't at first. Now that I do have it in hand, and after being more open to other styles of Spyderco knives, I've thought that I'd finally give it a try. And just because it is a cheaper knife, more affordable, and because of what you get, I thought, now that I have better knowledge of that, it's just something I couldn't really pass up. So I'm just going to go over and go through some specs as always real quick, hopefully. The closed length on this is 3 and 15/16 inches, so just about 4 inches. So it is a very small package. It's very comparable to the Delica. Um, the overall length on this is 7 inches exactly, and the blade length is a hair over 3 inches at 3 and 1/8 of an inch. Sorry. Actual cutting edge here is just under 3 inches at 2 and 5/8 inch. Of course, the blade hits over 3 because of that finger choil there, which the Native is pretty notorious for. Blade thickness on this knife is 1/8 or 3 millimeters. It's got the 15 of over 32 of an inch spider hole, or 12 millimeters, and blade steel is CPM S30V, which is very nice. Most people know of this steel S30V, and it is typically on Spyderco's higher end knives. So that is one reason why the Native is such a popular knife, is that this knife can be had for about 60 bucks, anywhere from I've heard of people getting this knife as cheap as $35. So the 35 to 60 range, just depending what your source is and the availability. Considering this is a Native 2, it's a little bit harder to come by, but still plenty out there. Uh, yeah, so I mean, a CPM S30V knife for under $100 is, an extremely good deal, and reason for people, wanting it so much. And well, that's not the only reason. There's many more that I'll go over here. Handles made from FRN. Just real quick, the knife is light, only weighing 2.65 ounces, so it is nice. The thickness of the handle is a bit chunky compared to the Delica, but nothing to really complain about. Uh, as you can see here, there's that kind of texture that starts small and gets bigger as it spans out over the knife. It says Spyderco Native here with the spider in the middle there. It's all pin construction, so that's kind of a downside. You can't take this knife apart. Considering there's no screws on it, it's all solid together except for the clip here holding, pin here, and then the actual pivot pin, which is not adjustable, so you can't tighten or loosen that. So it's kind of a con. It is a lockback, as you can see, and it does have that Boyd dent. Very comfortable lockback at that. One of the most comfortable lockbacks, actually, that I own. Feels very soft and easy to have down and easy to flick forward and close. Um, Fairly smooth. I mean, for what you're paying for, it's nice. Kind of a plasticky feel when you close it and whatnot. This one does not have a thumb ramp like a lot of Spyderco knives do. This one is just flat across, as you can see, but it is heavily jimped, and that jimping is extremely, extremely grippy. Um, Thumb doesn't go anywhere when I'm holding it on there. It's very, very rigid. Ergonomics of the knife are very comfortable for the most part. This first finger choil here is a bit big, so when you do hold it, you almost feel like you want to put two fingers there, but it's only enough really for one. So I kind of get the feel that when you're holding this knife, your index finger kind of almost curls at an angle when you're like holding the knife, and that's why it's kind of overextended, I feel. and if you want to choke up on the knife, you can by placing your index finger and your fingers here. One kind of thing that maybe people would complain about is that this finger choil isn't completely round all the way around. As you can see here, the upper end kind of steeps like just a straight diagonal there as the blade curves here, so it's almost kind of like a trigger kind of thing. But it's comfortable. It's not uncomfortable. Um, could have been rounded off, but like I said, for the price point, there's not much you can complain about the knife. This one in particular is a hollow grind, so I don't know if you can really see there with the grind. It does round down to that narrow end. Try to give some light there so you can see that roundness. As you can see here, there is a pretty big spine swedge, so weight reducing and kind of, a false edge here. So it's very pointy, like a modified spear point. So this would be very capable of stabbing, puncturing, piercing, and it does a good job of it. I did use this at work a bit over a couple days just to see how it did with my normal tasks of just ripping boxes apart to stock beer and whatnot. Um, Overall, really liking this knife, especially for the price point in the S30V. It's laser sharp, like all S30V, and with that hollow grind, it's even sharper. Kind of a con though of that is kind of like saber grind. The hollow grind goes only up to mid spine, so as soon as you hit mid spine, it's thick. So if you're plowing through some thick material, it's kind of gets stuck on that extra metal. At least I can picture that happening. Spider hole is comfortable to take out, although it is not, as you can see, some of it is seated into the handle. It's kind of recessed in there. So although it is easy to get into to open, could have been farther out a little bit. So this one is actually pretty hard to flick open. I can't flick this knife open yet, and partially that is because the knife isn't all the way broken in, so that pin pivot screw is still pretty tight. Pocket clip on this knife is set for tip up only. Comes right side. It is reversible to the left side, but it is a tip up knife only clip. As you can see, it's that older style clip there. Honestly, I'm not sure even what to call this screw here kind of thing, but it is a longer clip overall. So I feel this is a pretty good beater knife, and with the blade shape and the handle, it's ergonomical. Grip is extremely good. The jimping for it being a straight with no thumb ramp like I'm used to from Spyderco. Lockback is very like I said, soft, very comfortable to depress and close, and ride's nice. Um, as you can see here, I'll throw the Delica in here just so you can kind of see. Delica is even a little bit longer than the Native side by side, and as you can see, let's see, tip up. The pocket clips is quite a bit longer on the Native than that of the Delica for that style. The Delica one is a little bit more thin. Blade just about the same length. I think the Native is a little bit longer, not much, but a little bit longer. So I believe these are both pretty comparable, affordable Spyderco knives. Except here you get that premium CPM S30V versus the VG10. Both very good steels. S30V takes a little bit of a finer edge, lasts a little bit longer, a little bit harder to sharpen. Both very good. I'll just throw the Sage 2 in here real quick because this is based off of the Native and the Cali 3. So you can kind of see some similarities there in the blade shape. Of course, there's another that sporadic grind of the swedge and the hollow grind. It's just a full flat grind like the Cali 3. But it's got that finger choil. As you can see on the Sage, they fixed that problem, really rounding it out there, versus this one that has that cut angle. And of course, this is a wire clip. Whole different class of knife, but regardless, just thrown in there for a little bit of size comparison, and just the fact that this one is based off of the Sage and the Cali 3. But anyways, as you can see there, oh, and I'm sorry, I left out something important for some people. It is made in Golden, Colorado, USA Earth, and Spyderco CPM S30V, and you got the bug here. So this knife is made in America, USA. There you go, guys. Native 2.